So now that you're on the bench, what do you see as your most important work as a member of the Georgia Supreme Court?
I have two answers for you. So I think before this election, I would tell you that my most important work is deciding the case that's before me. Because when somebody walks into the Georgia Supreme Court, the case to them is the most important thing going on in their lives. You know, this is the highest court in Georgia. We're the last say on matters of the Georgia Constitution and Georgia law. So whatever is happening for the parties in that legal case, it's occupying all of their thinking. You know, whether it's, like I said, a business case, whether you're the victim of a crime, whether you've been convicted of a crime and your life and liberty are at stake. I mean, these are all people for whom they are thinking about that case all the time. And so I dedicate myself to each of those cases with equal vigor. I think now that this election cycle has proven to be different than past ones, you know, my most important task now is defending the integrity of the courts and defending the nonpartisan nature of our Supreme Court and our courts that the Georgians decided and put into place with our Constitution. I think it is so critically important. I really shudder to think of a world where the judicial branch is converted to a political branch of government, and then we have three political branches. You know, our government was designed to have a check on the system. That check is the judiciary. And so, you know, I march forward doing what I can to play that role because I do believe this election is a lot bigger than re-elect Sarah Warren. I do want to be reelected. Please vote on May 19th. But what I really care about is the system as a whole and the integrity and the fairness and impartiality that every Georgian deserves.
We've been talking a lot on the show about Wisconsin and about how tens of millions of dollars have been spent in Wisconsin races for their top court that have become overtly political, overtly partisan. What does Georgia risk if it goes down the road of becoming more and more like states like Wisconsin?
I mean, I am proud to be from Georgia. I am proud to be a Georgian. I am proud to be raising my children in Georgia. And I want Georgia to keep all the things that make it special and unique. We have a wonderful system in Georgia. And if you talk to the lawyers who practice in the Georgia Supreme Court and the people whose lives are affected by those cases, they don't want us to be like another state. You know, I think our judiciary is sort of a crown jewel in a sense. There are lawyers and judges in other states who say, how do you do it? You know, how are you such a functional Supreme Court where people can disagree? Because disagreeing is okay. You know, our justices disagree. They write dissents or separate opinions, but we get the work done because we decide thousands of cases a year. And they're not all the kinds of things you think about, you know, reading in the paper.